What's up, everyone? Kevin Oak here. Just wanted to finally sit down and kind of go through the meet. Just kind of go through, what I expected to happen, if I hit my expectations, how I felt about my results. Getting into squats specifically, this was my opener, 810 pounds. Obviously, should have been easy, pretty easy hit for me. Hit it nice and smooth. Probably wasn't the deepest squat in history, but was to depth. All that really matters. Kept me warmed up for my second attempt, which would be my main attempt. And usually this is kind of what you build your total off of. The goal really, most of the time, is to hit all of your seconds, hopefully at least 1/3, and that's just kind of how you build the total going from meet to meet. So here's my second attempt, 843. I believe this is the heaviest actual walked out raw squat at 220 pounds or lower. I did want to hit like 860 because that would be the heaviest at 242 or lower as well. And I think Zahir holds that, so really wanted to beat that, but just couldn't get it out. Was having balancing issues just from when I tried to unrack it for whatever reason. Just wasn't stable at all with it, which is, it's kind of one of those variables that come into play when you're doing a walkout squat versus a monolift, where you can position yourself perfectly, just stand up with the weight and go for the squat. So it's one of those things. I thought I'd hit 860 fairly easily in competition, but obviously when you get on the platform, there's more variables, there's just a lot of other things at play. So at the end of the day, it's just what happened. Just to be more specific with what happened on this squat, I was a little off balance. I was too far forward on my toes. So coming down, I was just off balance, but I was still kind of able to hold the bar and stay in place. But when I pushed out of the bottom, I was just a little too far forward, getting on my toes. I was trying to push through. I almost got it, but I kind of fell over right at the last second. I just couldn't lock it out. Just asked the spotters to grab me, which they did. So getting into bench press, I was a little bit worried, just because I've been kind of nursing strains in both sides of my pecs, mostly on the right side, which is why on the lifts you can kind of see my right arm is just very shaky. I was able to train pretty heavy, but I could still feel it, so it was like always just kind of feeling like my chest might tear at some point during training. I was able to get through the training cycle with no injuries, so that was good. But I was still just a little worried going for like a max effort bench press. But I set my numbers up for, obviously what my training lifts kind of implied I should be able to do, which would be around like 518, 523-ish. I decided to go for 518 just to stay on the safe side, and because 5 extra pounds just wasn't really going to help me, in all honesty, in terms of the entire total. I mean, it really came down more to, what I can hit on deadlift and squat. So 518 was my previous competition PR, which I did in a bench-only meet, and it was actually in the 242s, not 220. So I was like, you know what, just match that, and it should be alright. It should be enough to kind of support my total. So that's what I did. The 507 I thought was pretty clean, nice and smooth. 518 got a little, scary, kind of pushing into lockout. It was just really slow. I was able to push it out, but I was just feeling problems with stability. I just feeling like I couldn't be completely explosive with pushing the bar through, but I was able to kind of like slowly just lock it out smooth enough to get it. So, 518 was my goal. Hit the 518, 3 white lights. It's kind of all that really matters. Just moved on to deadlifts after that. So getting into deadlifts, it was kind of like the moment of silence, like, let's close this out. Let's get the world record total. So I ended up opening up with 733. I knew it should be pretty easy. I hit it in training for a double as well as a 750 double in training, so there's no reason why I wouldn't be able to lock that out clean. I ended up actually getting red lighted, I guess, for having soft knees, for kind of pulling back too far. The reason I did that was just to over exaggerate the lockout so they wouldn't call me on not fully locking out, which is pretty ironic, I guess. But whatever. Got red light on it. Normally I would repeat the lift if I get red lighted, but honestly the goal for this meet was to get the world record total, so I just wasn't even gonna fuck around and repeat that. Just went straight for the 766, so I would at least have 2 attempts if for some reason I didn't get it on this first attempt. So main thing I was worried about was my lockout on this. I know I could do the weight, but it's like I knew I couldn't lock out too far or they'd call me on that, and I didn't want to lock out my shoulders too forward or they would call me on that. So I was trying to lock out in a perfectly straight line just to, keep the judges happy. I tried to put the bar down as softly as possible so, they just couldn't get anal and call me or whatever the fuck. So anyway, I ended up locking it out, I think in a perfectly straight line to appease the judges. 3 white lights, new world record. So it's good to finally kind of get over that hump. Kind of felt like, climbing a mountain, finally getting to the top, almost planting a flag. So definitely happy I was able to get that, especially since there's no way in hell I can never make 220 pounds again. So this is definitely a good way to go out. And yeah, coming into this attempt, what happened was my left hamstring just started cramping up really bad. I knew I wasn't going to be able to lock it out, pulling all the way through without it kind of pulling, so it sucks. I knew I could do the weight, but that's what happens when your 9th attempt on the platform after a long day. So still got the world. All right, so real quick, I have to run out and do some things, but I thought I should finally put together a video just kind of addressing what everybody's been asking me. How did I lose, 30 pounds to make the 220-pound weigh-in? First of all, it wasn't fun. Second of all, I do not recommend it to people. It's not something I do often. I do it once or twice per year. I don't plan on doing it again this year, that's for sure, since I'm moving up a weight class. I'll start with, it was a Friday morning weigh-in. So starting the Saturday before, I started drinking 2 gallons of water a day. That was the only liquid I was drinking. About 2, 2.5, maybe 3, whatever. It was around 2 gallons a day. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, right? And Wednesday, it was probably about 2 gallons before I cut off as well. In terms of cutting carbs and all that stuff, I lowered carbs starting on that Saturday. I was still eating carbs, but it was mostly proteins, mostly chicken, a little beef, but carbs decreased substantially. Not to 0, but substantially, right? So I flew into California on Wednesday, early Wednesday. I was in my hotel by noon. So I had my last meal around 2 o'clock, I believe, 2 p.m. I kept drinking fully. I had about 2 gallons that day on the plane, everywhere. I was in the airport by like 5:30. I had the red-eye flight out. So yeah, I had about 2 gallons on that Wednesday as well. I had my last meal around 2 o'clock. It was just like a turkey sandwich or turkey roast beef. I forget exactly, but it's very small, low calories, nothing major, just the last meal type of thing. By 5 o'clock, the water started slowing down, and I took Mag-Sit. I don't know if you guys know what that is. Magnesium citrate. It's very common. It kind of cleans out your body. Basically, gets rid of everything. You're basically on the toilet for like 5-6 hours, just clearing out your system. Fine. I cut water off by like 7-8 o'clock probably. So this is like, we're talking like probably 40 hours out from weigh-ins. Food and water were both already cut off. So Thursday, by about I think 3 p.m. Thursday, I was down to 230. When I was done water loading the day before, I think I was 248. So 2 days out, I was about 248. By the time I needed to start sweating, which was 3 p.m. on Thursday, I was down to about 230, 231, and pretty dry already. I peed out, obviously, about 18 pounds of water and whatever else is in your body. So I was already pretty dry, and I needed to lose about another 10, 11 pounds. So in the hotel, I was fortunate enough that there was a wet sauna. So I began doing wet sauna sessions around 3 p.m. I ended up having to do 5 45-minute sessions. I was doing 45 minutes in, 15 minutes out, which was it. It fucking hurt. Like it was very painful. That's just how it goes. Um, I stopped around 8 p.m. because I just couldn't handle anymore that day. I started breathing really weird. Started feeling kind of delirious, which is why I don't recommend this to people at all. Me making this video definitely is not like, hey, go do this. It's just a lot of people ask me how I did it. So I was like, I'll make a video explaining it if people really want to know. So by about 8 p.m., I think I was down to 224 or 223, which is, yeah, it's pretty bad. I used to lose water a lot quicker. Every time you do these cuts, it becomes harder and harder to sweat out the water. So I was down to about 224. Went upstairs to my room. I was waiting for one of my friends, Jeff, to come, who helps me rehydrate and just kind of helps me through the meets. Especially, he's a PT, so he helps me with stretching and all that stuff. Because on meet days, issues always come up. I always get glute and like hamstring tightness issues, so he helps me with all that. He helps me rehydrate. Anyways, I was just laying in bed. I was in a lot of pain, more pain than I've ever been in from a cut. And I was just trying to make it to the next morning so I could sweat out the rest of it. So I woke up early the next morning, I think around 6 o'clock, 6:30, went down. I had to do 3 more 45-minute sauna sessions to get down to 220 pounds. Actually, I think I was like 221 or something, but that was the most I was getting, and I figured I can kind of spit out the rest just chewing gum. So driving to the expo, I was just like chewing sour gum to spit out whatever else I need to get to the expo, do the gear check, do all that stuff, get on the scale. I weighed in at exactly 220.4, which is 100 kilograms. That's the cutoff. So made weight, right? First thing I do, sorry, first thing I do, start drinking water and Gatorade. Usually that'll get me, you know, at least 6 pounds like right off the bat because you're just that thirsty. You start chugging. There's really no way around it. I know you're supposed to kind of sip slowly, but yeah, you're gonna chug that first like 6 to 10 pounds before you even get back to the hotel. So then I go back to the hotel, and this is where, you know, basically what you have to do, especially with a cut like this, you have to use IV bags. So I had to do, it was like 4 IV bags straight to just get rehydrated. I couldn't eat any food yet. I was still drinking water, drinking Gatorade. I was drinking those naked drinks. I like those. They're really high in carbs, and it's natural. It's mostly fruits, so I like drinking those. And after the 4 bags, it probably took about 4 hours. I think I was up to like 240, 242 maybe, something like that. But that's usually my goal. Usually my goal is just to get back to around my training weight. I was training mostly from like 245 to 250. So yeah, that's pretty much what it took. I couldn't really hold any food down. I was throwing up. I tried to have Chipotle. Did not work out very well. Um, but yeah, that's how I did it. That's how it's done. It sucked. It was rough, but I did it. I got rehydrated. Another key thing people always mess up is on meet day, you have to wake up early and start drinking again and stay rehydrated. Usually whatever weight you get up to the day before, I think I got up to like 245. You'll usually lose about 5 pounds of that overnight. So you'll wake up around 240 and you got to start drinking from the minute you wake up. During the meet day, there was I had to take a lot of taurine just to combat cramping issues. And I was just drinking water and carbs all day, eating Nutrient bars just to keep energy up, drinking a lot of Red Bull. But that's how it's done. That's how I did the cut. That's how I got rehydrated. I'm sure I missed a bunch of stuff. If you guys have any questions, just ask me in the comments below. But that's how it's done. I don't recommend it for people. It's not something I'll do more than once or twice a year. But that's it. That's how you cut it.